Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me at the last minute tonight. I'm still getting back into the swing of going live and stuff since being sick. So thank you for bearing with me and thank you for putting up with my nasally voice tonight. Welcome in. Welcome in. There's a new interview that I wanted to go over with you guys that the Goncalves family did with Nancy Grace today. Can you guys let me know too if my audio is okay? I've been trying to work on my computer and trying to fix that audio issue I was having. So let me know if it sounds okay. And let's give everybody a minute to join. And hit that like button on your way in if you would be so kind. All right, we're going to try the video, and I want you guys to test the video for me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and play just about 30 seconds of the video. Hi, Paul Cremo. I'm going to play about 30 seconds of the video. Let me know if it crackles or if we've got any issues.
The truth, here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your ass. Thank you.
How's the sound? Let me know. I am very congested. You hear me great? The video is good. Hey, Pines. Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for joining tonight. Have you guys seen this yet? It just came out today. Hi, Pretty in Pink. Hi, Penny. Hi, Evelyn. Miss Sharon. Good to see you. Delaney. Evelyn P. All right. So far, so good, everybody says. Kat Schweizer. All right. Let me take care of one little thing, and then we're going to get into it. This is a really good interview. I'm not sure when they did it. It had to have been in the last few days, I would imagine. They did not say anything about the body cam. That is, so they said the FOIA request that someone requested, the Goncalves is getting the death notice. They did not mention that, so I'm not sure what's up with that. I was hoping we'd get some answers. We have the same cold. I was hoping we'd get some answers with that, but you were just watching it, Robat? All right, well, we can watch it together and discuss. Let's get right into it, guys.
I wanted to open with sound from your daughter speaking out at BryanKohberger's sentencing.
Let me get captions on.
Something. You did something right. The way you have raised your children. Mrs. Goncalves, weren't you so proud of her. And under the worst conditions, she
Hi, Kramit.
stood strong.
She has never ceased to amaze me throughout this whole entire process. She has just been just amazingly strong. And when we went to the sentencing, we actually did not know what each other was going to say because we did not want to influence each other's speeches. So we did not know. And it was all new. And she got up there and I was just astounded. I was just beside myself. And then when she was done, the audience or the courtroom clapped, and it was like, is that normal? I don't think people normally clap, but it was very surreal. It was very, oh my gosh, what happened? And then, I'm like, I have to hear that again. It was just so good. Just so proud of her, of what she said. And the way she articulated it was perfect.
I'm going to play some of your daughter speaking, but as I'm looking at the two of you
So I'm just going to be pausing, for fair use purposes, but also to say I concur. I think Olivia was the star of the day with her impact statement. Hi, Tim Sparks. Welcome in, everybody. Hit the like button.
sitting there so close together, connected, clearly connected. When marriages face the slightest problem, like you don't have enough money, or there's an illness in the family, or just any number of things, marriages break apart. But under the single worst thing that could happen to a mother and a father, the death of your child, which most of us can't even imagine, you two seem even stronger. You seem even closer. How is that happening, Kristi?
I honestly, it has brought us closer just because the pain and the anxiety that we have had, or especially me, Steve has just been so amazing. He's been so gentle with me. He's given me grace. He's given me time to heal. What do you need? Can I help you? And, I try to be that person for him as well. Sometimes I just need a hug. When he gets home, I'm like, I just need a big hug. And he just wraps his arms around me, gives me this big old hug, and I just feel better. And I mean, he's been my husband for almost 30 years and, 5 kids. And he's the epitome of an amazing man, an amazing father, amazing husband, all wrapped up in one. I was blessed.
What's interesting? So many things about you two are interesting. And so many millions of people have been watching you at a distance. And I'm just so honored that I get to actually talk to you, not just watch you in a courtroom or on a camera. Mr. Goncalves, you have been very outspoken throughout this entire nightmare. And a lot of people have attacked you. I don't get it.
All right. Now here we're getting into the nitty gritty of it. Okay. And you know what? They are a very strong family. Say what you will about them. They're very strong. Whatever it is they do, they're strong. And STL, why can't you listen to Steve G? I mean, I guess I don't understand it. I don't understand the hate for this man.
Do you even care what they say? I hope not.
No, it just rolls right off my shoulders. I played sports my whole life. I'm used to constructive criticism, so that I'll take to heart. And sometimes I will misspeak or I'll say something that I'll take back because I got my facts wrong. But I'm defending my children and my daughter and my wife, so I don't really take to heart them.
Hey, Georgia dog.
I know that there's going to be some people who side with the other side, and I just keep it at that. I think they have more in harmony with evil than they do good, and their actions reflect that. So I don't waste my time on them.
Well, Mr. Goncalves, our family, the Grace family, has a very old saying, screw them and the horse they rode in on. So that's my legal advice to you. I want to circle back to your daughter, who was absolutely amazing. And you know what? That doesn't just happen. She's amazing because you raised her to be amazing. She didn't just come out that way. She has had years of you as her example. What am I talking about? Listen.
You thought you were exceptional, all because of a grade on a paper. You thought you were elite because your online IQ test from 2010 told you so. All of that effort just to seem important. It's desperate. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. You act like no one could ever understand your mind, but the truth is you're basic. You're a textbook case of insecurity disguised as control. Your patterns are predictable. Your motives are shallow. You are not profound. You're pathetic. You aren't special or deep, not mysterious or exceptional. Don't ever get it twisted again. No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you.
Hey,
no
Buddha
one
girl.
is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important. You orchestrated this like you thought you were God. Now look at you, begging a courtroom for scraps. You spent months preparing, and still all it took was my sister in a sheath. You work so hard to seem dangerous, but real control doesn't have to prove itself.
I love her.
I love her
Did
too.
you have any idea what she was going to say, Kristi?
No, we didn't. We didn't share our speeches with each other because we didn't want to influence them, and we were writing them up to the minute, literally like editing and adding and taking away. So no, she got up there and she flipped the table. I mean, she flipped it all upside down. We were like, oh my goodness, and she did great.
Hey, Kimmy.
People love her, and
Hey, Melissa.
we love her. She's our oldest girl, our oldest child, and she's been.
If you guys are just joining, we're watching a new interview with the Goncalves family, or Steve and Kristi, and Nancy Grace, and this was released today.
Through a lot with us, being the oldest. So she's very resilient. She's very brave. She's the best big sister to all the kids. And she's incredibly smart, incredibly smart. She blows my mind all the time. All the time.
I just want to play one more time. I've got so many questions for you, but I just got to play one more tiny snippet of your daughter.
The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your ass. Thank you.
Best part ever. I love how the judge said thank you. I absolutely love it. Look at him. He's like, oh, she told me. Look at the look on his face. And look how proud he is. Look how proud he is of his girl. Love that. Love that.
And all over the world, people joined in that applause. She's amazing. Steve, did you have any idea what she was going to say before she said it?
I did know a little bit of details. We talked about topics, and she said she wanted to use his questions against him, and we all had that same idea. We thought about that, but she earned it. She needed that, and I was glad to give that to her, and that was her talking point. So that was the kind of collaboration we did. But I think when you see her, you have a glimpse of who Kaylee was as well. And when you hear my son, he was speaking as well. When you see the two kids, you see who Kaylee was. And that was our best way of showing the world what had been stolen from us. He was very average, but his victims were exceptional. And that's what we wanted to convey. That's what we were missing, and we wanted the world to know about that, like what we're missing and what kind of a person she was.
Hi, guys.
Okay, let me skip her little infomercial here. All right, here we go.
Elvis, right
And welcome in, new members. Enjoy your new memberships.
now, seemingly every headline is about BK, BryanKohberger, what he's going through, what his complaints are, where he's housed. I'm so overhearing about Bryan effing Kohberger.
Brian.
I want to talk about the victims. Victims all over the world are watching you and getting strength from you. I remember the moment that I turned into a crime victim, the moment I knew my fiance had been murdered.
Oh, here we go,
I was standing
Nancy.
at a payphone, and I could talk, but I couldn't dial the numbers. My hand was like a moth trying to get to the light. I couldn't punch the numbers. I remember it exactly. When Mrs. Goncalves, did you know, without a doubt, something horrible?
Oh my gosh, it's Miss Kebby Card. Hello, beautiful. It's so good to see you. Oh my goodness, it's Kebby.
Had happened.
It was Sunday, November 13th. We were all here watching the football game. And my niece called me and she told me that something terrible had happened to Kaylee. Her cousin or her husband's cousin went to U of I and something was going on. And she believed that Kaylee was dead. And I threw my phone across the room and I started calling Kaylee, and her phone was going straight to voicemail. So I started calling Maddie and nothing. So I called Olivia and got Olivia on the phone and told her what was going on. But we were still trying to stay calm, saying, it's going to be okay. It's going to be, something just is wrong. Well, as the hours went by and we called police stations and hospitals and we got nothing, no information. But we see her house on TV and it's cordoned off with yellow tape. I knew in my heart that something terrible had happened. But for sure when the sheriff showed up around 5 and came to the door.
Can you imagine their day, that day, finding that out? Now listen, thank you, Sarah. I am getting better.
And told us there was 4 homicides.
Mrs. Goncalves, what do you mean? Because I knew Keith was dead before they said he's dead. I knew. When you said you knew in your heart, how did you know in your heart? And what was that feeling? How did you know? And I've heard many, many other violent crime victims say the same thing. They knew before they were told.
Well, I knew just because of my niece calling me. She's a very responsible adult. She's a mother. She's a nurse. I knew that Sabrina would not have made that call to me had she not had facts. So I knew, even though we didn't have confirmation, but I kept telling Olivia and the kids, she's gone. She's gone, guys. We don't know what happened, but and we're running around the house frantic. I'm crying. Everybody's crying. We're trying to get in touch with somebody to get answers. And I kept saying, the sheriff will come. If it's true, the sheriff will come. And it was that evening, and I looked out my front window and I saw the sheriff pull up. And I said, the sheriff's here. And I took off to my bedroom. I ran to my bedroom.
Christ.
And everybody answered the door. And
That right there, that got me. And I think that everybody who says, oh, I don't like them, or I can't listen to them, or I can't stand them, all this stuff, should hear this. Because this got me, right? The sheriff got there. They were thinking all day until the sheriff comes, there's hope, right? That she's okay. That this isn't really happening. And then she sees the sheriff, and what does she do? She runs to her room. And as a mom, I feel that. I feel that because you want to get away from that. You don't want no, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that definitive news. And it just, damn, that really hit me.
And I came back out about a minute later and stood here at the front door and asked him what happened, and he said it was a homicide. And I said, they were murdered? And I asked if one of them was Maddie, because at that time things started clicking. That it could possibly be Maddie, because she hadn't answered me all day long. And they said yes. And we said, how? And they said, we don't know.
We don't know.
Here's a card. Call this person in the morning.
You hear this?
And we were like, should we go down there?
Call this person in the morning. Hey, Dina Weeks. Thanks for 3 months of membership. Appreciate you. Oh, man. Your grandma did the same. She saw them walking up her walkway and ran out the back door. God, there's just something about that. Just breaks my heart, man. Here's a card. Call in the morning. How in the hell do you tell someone to call in the morning? It is crazy. Seashell, thank you for 3 months as well. I appreciate your support. It is ruthless. We had the state police show up at 4 a.m. Brother-in-law died in a car accident. Worst thing to have them show up like that. You know before you know. Ugh. So sorry, Evelyn. I just can't get over the whole, here's a card, call them in the morning. Like, okay.
I said, no. And I said, what are we supposed to do? What do we do? And he said, just call in the morning.
I'm trying to, I feel like I'm seeing it all play out right in front of me right now. I remember I was holding this big stack of school books. I had just come out of a statistic exam. And I remember just dropping everything. And it
Nancy.
was so unreal. You said you ran out into the yard. Do you remember that moment? Where did you think you were
She
going?
didn't
What
say
were
the
you going
yard.
to do?
Nancy.
Well, I actually ran to my bedroom. And I just, as soon as I saw that sheriff pull up, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I didn't want to hear it. I was running away. I ran back to that room, and, I was crying, and it just all hit me. Like, this is not a weird situation. This isn't, and, Kaylee's gone. Even though I knew all day, but I didn't know. It was just hard to explain, but in my heart, I felt it. And it was just the finality. Like, this officer is here, and he's here for a reason, and it was, your whole body hurts. Like, everything just aches, like your fingertips, your toes, God. Your knees, you get shaky. Like, that really happens, like the shaking in the knees, and it's real. And I think at that point, I went into shock. And I think that shock lasted for quite a while for me. I don't remember a whole lot after that. I have pretty big gaps in my memory.
Steve.
It is so sad to see or hear what she's went through, and all of you in chat too. I'm so sorry for all of your losses. That's horrible. I'm so sorry. Right, Delaney? Don't forget Lucy and John David too.
Do you remember her running to the bedroom and hiding when the LA law enforcement came up the driveway?
Yeah, I remember her running that way. Aubrey went up the steps, and she went on her computer, and she started. At first we thought it was just like a rumor, some drama, some fake thing. I mean, it's a college town, parties happen, kids do pranks. We thought there was something else going on. At least I did. That's why we were like, if the cop shows up, then, that's not a prank. This is something serious. And even then, I still couldn't fully understand what, you don't know what death is. unless you've been familiar with it, and we weren't. This family hadn't been struck like that. So, yeah, we it's that door right there behind us, and opened that up, and there's a sheriff there I've never seen before in my life, and Kootenai County car, and
Now, do you think that they're telling these details so that people won't want to play that body cam? Because we know yesterday they made the post where they said that there has been a request for the body cam of the officer that delivered them Kaylee's death notice, which would be everything we're hearing about right now. I just think it's curious that that's coming out. They're talking about these intimate details they haven't told before in light of the FOIA request.
thankfully,
Like trying to get in front of it, if you will. But on the other hand, could it also cause more intrigue? You know what I mean? It's almost like they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't in their situation. You know what I mean?
gave us a little bit more information than we had at that point, and he cleared up the fact that it was a homicide, and Maddie was involved as well, and we knew Maddie's mom was on the way down there, so we were like, do we call her? Do we let her know that no, and they weren't gonna. They already told us that we couldn't go down there and see them. We couldn't go down there and pick her up or anything like that. So it's an ongoing investigation. So we just sat in the house and just thought of ways to get a hold of people that had been around the children in the last 28, 48 hours and figure out what's going on. Was this some random act of violence? What was this?
Was it a shooting from a party? Was it the night? Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
Can you imagine being told that your child was murdered, but we don't know how? Call in the morning. Gray Pearl, I agree with you. I don't know what it's going to take, but I just don't think that body cam should be released. I just feel it's invasive, and I don't know what the answer is, to be honest.
People were saying it was fentanyl and, all the type of rumors that would go around. So, and, they wouldn't even tell us any details. I mean, it was months before we actually even knew how they were killed. So it was very frustrating. We got the vandal alert that told us that there was 4 homicides before we even knew what was going on. So they knew before we knew.
Nuts.
Just trying to imagine everything
How in the world
that you're saying.
How in the world does the vandal alert from the school go out as homicides before the families are notified? Can someone make that make sense? Can someone make that make sense? Hi, women are sacred. It's such an important interview, though. I feel like everybody needs to hear it. Remy June, hello, good to see you. And sadly, they're not going to have privacy for the rest of their lives. And that gag order is what caused all these issues, was this super secret gag order.
And the officer gives you a card when you go, well, what do we do? He goes, well, just call them in the morning. It's almost like a bank with banker's hours. You can get back to them in the morning. So what do you do all night long when you have this knowledge and you can't go there? There's nothing you can do there. What did you do that night?
I did not sleep at all that night because after what we were, going through, I also called Olivia, and she lives down in LA, and she threw her kids in the car, and her husband jumped in the car, and they drove up here. So they drove through the night. That was about 5, 6 o'clock at night when they left LA. It's a 20-hour drive. So, I was worried about them driving all night, as well. And I just couldn't sleep. And my mind it went crazy. I went crazy.
Yeah,
I went crazy. I can't imagine. Pines, thank you so much for 5 memberships. If you received a membership from Pines, let her know thank you. And Remy June, thank you for joining tonight. I appreciate your support, you guys. Oh, man. 20 hours. So we've got, they don't know what killed their daughter. We've got the other daughter with the grandchildren driving 20 hours to get there. And Olivia, was pregnant. And they've got Karen Laramie on her way to Moscow. And they're like, do we call Karen and tell her that Maddie's not alive? Because, Karen's driving there, not knowing. And I think that the more that the prosecution and all of those people from UI that are involved in this case, whether it's an investigator, whether it's a cop, whether it's a lawyer, a judge, whomever, the more that they push back and say they did nothing wrong and couldn't have done things differently, things will never change. And it's sick and it's sad because they could learn from this situation, right? But because they don't want to be fuck ups, they sweep it under the rug. And it's absolute bullshit. And that's why I like the Goncalves family, because they're not pussies.
I knew that Kaylee had mentioned being stalked even right up until the weeks that this had came up to that. So I felt like I kind of wanted my family to be focused on something other than just the devastation. So I was like, you're finding out information, get a hold of a neighbor. And the more information that we found, it just felt like that was at least something to grab, that something we could control, go away from just being victims to being investigators of what happened to our child. And we did find out a bunch of things that those 48 hours from people that were just reaching out and saying, hey, this is what I know. I was right across the street. This is what's going on. And we just went from there.
I remember what you said, Steve. Listen.
Within hours, we had your white car on camera. We knew from the very beginning we had you. Police officers tell us within minutes they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree, you're a joke, complete joke.
So at the very beginning, Steve and Kristi, you were already focusing or trying to focus off the pain and focus on what happened and finding the truth.
Yes, because Jack actually wound up coming here because he left Moscow and he came here, and obviously he was there at the scene and stuff. So he had heard.
So this is another crazy thing to me, right? Jack would have been their number one suspect. And we know that they put Jack in the back of the police car that day, right? Look who's here. My friend Shane Culkin. Hello. But we know that they put Jack in the back of the car. But he was already cleared the night of. I mean, how is that even humanly possible? Doesn't that seem crazy? Hey, Annie Jean. Hey, Green Eyed. Welcome in, guys. We're watching a new interview with Steve and Kristi Goncalves from Nancy Grace.
Heard what Dylan was saying. So once he told us that, because like I said, the officer said that it was a homicide, they were murdered. But then Dylan was saying there was a masked man in our house, and there was somebody in the tree and all this stuff. And it quickly was clear that this sounded like a stranger murder, not like somebody they knew or whatnot. So it really changed things. It felt like just a huge violation. And we just were like, we've got a murder that, and at that time before, I just kind of thought they were going to get him. It was some kid, he went and he shot up the house or something, and they got him. He's walking down the street, and I just kept waiting for the news to say they've arrested somebody. And when Jack told us that, I was kind of like, ugh, this sounds a little different than what we're thinking type of murder.
Well, I
And
mean,
then,
you're right, because we were all led to believe,
Right. So
Steve,
how in the hell did they clear Jack so quick? Hey, Tara. Good to see you. That blows my mind because they're how many hours away from Moscow? I wonder what time he got over there that night because they're like a few hours away. Right? He went and stayed with them, but how did they clear him so fast? Like, what if he actually did do it? How could they have been so sure that quickly? You know what I'm saying? I guess that's my problem. I'm pretty blown away too. Hey, Brett.
and Kristi, that, oh, they died in their sleep. That is not what happened at all, Steve.
Yeah. You don't expect the prosecutor to lie to you. And we were lied to. All the parents were lied to. They didn't.
See this? We were all led to believe that they were dead before they even knew what hit them. I don't know. It's pretty wild, Kathleen. I'd like to know, like, how they were able to clear him that fast. He had to have been cleared before he went to their home. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Great Pearl, I agree with that as well. Hey, Evie Summer.
You don't expect the prosecutor to lie to you. And we were lied
Well,
to.
and another thing, I mean, even if they didn't clear him, isn't it kind of dangerous to allow him to go to one of the victims' family's house? Dude, that's just weird. I feel like this was just weird from the beginning.
Yeah. You don't expect the prosecutor to lie to you. And we were lied to. All the parents were lied to. We weren't given the details. They're asking us to make a decision on life or death, and they're not even giving us the details of our own children, let alone the whole circumstance of what happened to them. I know for a fact that when one of the mothers heard what happened to Kaylee, she said this would have changed everything. So it was disgusting, and they kept saying stuff like crime of passion and house or a party house. And we're like, what's going on here? I'm literally watching the surveillance of this road, and this car keeps flying around this house over and over again.
Oh
They
my
were
God.
clearly stalked. I don't care.
Wow. Hear this? So they saw the video of his car from the beginning, circling the house like a shark. Yeah, way too loosey-goosey. Oh, Seashell. I don't know how they've done it.
House, and we're like, what's going on here? I'm literally watching the surveillance of this road, and this car keeps flying around this house over and over again. They were clearly stalked. I don't care what the prosecutor. Maybe he can't prove it because he's just not that good. But they were clearly stalked. He was there multiple times. The officers were distracted with giving minors in possessions when they're literally filming the house that these kids get murdered in. I mean, that town has to clear up some priorities and realize that noise complaints and alcohol is only a part of their job, and they need to make sure that they're protecting these kids if they want to keep doing business.
I was stunned when I
I do remember that, Robat. Remember when he said he went knocking on doors? Yep, Olivia too.
heard there was going to be a plea. I remember the moment. I'm like, what?
Oh, now
A
about the plea.
I want to circle back to something you said. Okay. Kaylee, and we heard dribbles about this at the beginning, had stated that she was being stalked. Okay. But then the prosecution says there was no stalking. We have no evidence of stalking. I mean, how many times can we place that Elantra stalking the King Road address? And Kaylee knew she was being stalked.
Right here.
So that is a lie. You state.
See, look at. She said Kaylee knew she was being stalked. And look at Kristi. Watch.
Stalking the King Road address. And Kaylee knew she was being stalked. So that is a lie. You stated the DA lied to you. I believe that. Because there is no way all the parents would have acted like they were going along with this plea if they had known what we're learning now with all these videos and body cam and crime scene photos coming out. That is not what everybody was told happened.
Yeah, 13 incidents in WSU before this individual was let go or defunded, whatever spin these universities want to put on it. This guy was a nightmare, throwing up red flags everywhere. And those are the type of details that we gotta force our courtrooms to be more honest. And we shouldn't be sealing things up in a case like this. I mean, it's not national security. It's getting abused. They're abusing these rules that they say, oh, we got to protect. They didn't have anyone to protect. They didn't even have the guy until almost 7 weeks, and they were still hiding everything. Mm-hmm. So it was just a lie. And, you know, when you call them,
what were they hiding?
Just telling us our child was stabbed
brutally.
How many times?
How many times? We just learned the day of the day before the sentencing.
Remember this? They did not know the extent of Kaylee's injuries. And this is a trigger warning for anybody who doesn't want to hear the details about Kaylee Goncalves, because they're about to tell you what they found out the day before sentencing.
How many times? We just learned the day before the sentencing, how many times Kaylee had been stabbed.
Wait a minute. I am stunned because she was stabbed so many times. They could not identify her. And you just learned about that?
One of the cops even said when he looked at Kaylee Goncalves, he didn't know what he was even looking at. Can you imagine? And they wanted these people to choose, like, oh, hey, do you want us, are you for the death penalty or not? Blah, blah, blah. Are you good with, we're going to do this plea? But they had no idea, totally blindsided. That's so unfair. That's so cruel.
When the plea was set to go down?
We learned about it after the plea, the day before the sentencing, because they lifted the gag order. So the detectives said that they would talk to us. So we talked to them briefly, and we had questions about Kaylee. How many times was she stabbed? I mean, that's not on her death certificate. The coroner never told us. She just said around 20 is what she said. So we really didn't know, and we didn't know where. So we asked them that, and they told us 38 times. And then
holy fuck, 38 times. And they waited 2.5 years to find that out. And it gets worse. As if that's possible.
They're like, okay. And they said Kaylee had really bad damage to her mouth. And I asked them if her teeth were intact. And they told me no. And then the day of the sentencing.
That's really, really uncomfortable for Steve. Good Lord above. I almost can't even listen to this again. This is my second time, and this is killing me. That beautiful girl. I mean, just, oh my God. It just infuriates me that BryanKohberger, they seem to be more worried about his rights than how these people feel. The unsuspecting victims.
Told me no. And then the day of the sentencing, the docs were dropped, the Moscow docs were dropped. And the next day we were driving home and I was reading some of them. And I read that Kaylee was, unrecognizable. And that was, that word will forever traumatize me. I didn't expect that. And then to read another report that said the same thing, unrecognizable. And then to read a third report that said he wasn't sure what he was really looking at because the facial structure had been so badly damaged.
So that's why we're disgusted with this prosecution team. I mean,
we did not know any of that for 2 years and 9 months. We did not know that. because of the gag order.
And they're telling us, are you okay with us giving them life in prison? We're like, no, we're not. And the people who are, they don't know what we know, and we don't know what they know. I don't know what happened to their child. They don't know what happened to mine. It was a protect the business over the victims, over justice. We're still fighting with it. I mean, we're still fighting with it to this day, because
Listen
we're
to
hearing
this.
details that he was following girls out to their car, and one of the professors said this guy's going to be a problem if he gets his PhD. He's going to harass students. He's going to freaking abuse his power. All the things that we suspected that were going on, we find this out afterwards. Why they go on a media tour? They only told us so they could go do a media tour and tell all you guys. So they're like, well, we have to tell them before we tell the world. So basically 12 hours earlier, they tell us, and then they grab a microphone and tell the world. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I'm just so stunned at how this was how this went down on you. And there's something about the victim's face, because I know I'm projecting. Keith was
Again.
shot 5 times in the neck, the face, the back. And I try not to think about it because it throws me into a horrible depression, because I think about the bullets tearing through his face. He had these beautiful blue eyes. And I wonder, were they shot? What happened? Did he feel it? What?
Yep.
When you
Delaney, I do remember that. Remember him sitting in front of the Moscow Police Department going, I need someone to step up and do it. Don't make me do it. Because he knew they were stalked. He knew there was more to the story. And they were downplaying it all.
You learned how many times she had been stabbed in the face. Were you full of rage? Were you full of tears? What went through your mind when you learned the truth? Too late.
So we actually learned all the truth from her autopsy report, and we were given her autopsy report on a thumb drive during the sentencing. The investigator walked into the courtroom that day and said, and we had arranged that, and he said, here's the autopsy report.
Can you imagine getting the autopsy report at sentencing on a frickin' thumb drive? Stabbed in the face, pretty hate machine. It's horrible. It's horrible. And they're going to go into more details as well.
So in reading that autopsy report, we found out that Kaylee had been stabbed 24 times to her face and head.
24 times to her face and head. What the fuck, BryanKohberger? What did Kaylee Goncalves do to you? That is some freaking anger. And one of these victims is not like the others. This is horrible. Holy. I mean, that is. Wow. I had no idea it was that many times just to her head.
Stabbed 24 times to her face and head. She had 11 to her chest, neck, and like torso area, and 3 to her upper extremities. So I thought about her eyes too. I was like, was her eyes stabbed? But somehow or another, Kaylee's eyes had not been stabbed. Kaylee did have really bad facial damage. Some of her teeth were missing. Several were broken. And she had 2 subdural hematomas to her head. So
I'm not exactly sure what subdural hematomas is. Do you guys know? She had 2 subdural hematomas to her head.
her nose was broken badly.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
Her. severe damage to her mouth. Her nose was broken. Her teeth were knocked out. And the cop said when he looked at her, he wasn't sure what he was looking at. That's under the skull. Oh my God. Brain bleed? That's what that is? Oh my God. Look at Kristi. She's like looking over at Steve like, oh, these details are not going to sit well with him. Hey, Christina. Yeah, you came in at a hard time.
Dural hematomas to her head. So her nose was broken badly.
Yeah, so that, for me, it was outrage because my daughter was fighting up to her very last breath. Over and over, she kept trying to get out of that bed, and he was just drilling her.
Yeah.
And she's fighting for her last breath, and I got this old Santa Claus who's just throwing out a white towel, just saying, oh, let's just make it all go away. And I want these type of killings to stop, and you don't do that with weak prosecutors, and this man is extremely bad at his job. And just yesterday, we asked AI, what are the safest countries in the world? And out of the top 10, every single one of them have the death penalty. Well, 8 of them have the capital. So for somebody to think that capital murder doesn't work, well, the safest countries in the world use it, and they don't use it like how we are in America.
Yeah.
As just a bargaining chip.
Yeah, Idaho has it, but our guys have been there for a long time. And
Since
we
the
knew
80s.
We knew this wasn't going to happen fast.
Yeah,
But
we were
he
fine
was
with
going to
that.
be on death row. It's the principle. He deserves to
Hey, Frank.
ultimately die. Now, maybe he's going to die of natural causes or just because he gets old in there. But we were hoping, because they just brought back the firing squad, that here in Idaho, things were going to pick back up and they were going to start, executing these murderers and these criminals that are on death row. But we knew it wasn't going to be anytime soon. We didn't think they're just going to take him out back and shoot him. I mean, that would be great. But even if it was exactly how they told us, they were just sleeping in their beds, they probably never even woke up, and they were just stabbed to death, little package of bow on it, we still would have wanted the death penalty.
Yeah.
We still would. We wanted it from the very beginning, as soon as we found out that they were.
Is that
stabbed to
what
death.
you were led to believe, Kristi? Because that's what I was led to believe, that they were attacked in their sleep and they were basically dead before they could even wake up.
Yep, that's
Yes.
what we were told.
And then they went to those parents and said, this is what it is. Do you want to make a deal? I mean, that's what it is. No, they didn't know. No, she was punched. Her face was crushed in. Or
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I can't get past that. I can't get past that shit. Oh, they were all asleep in their beds when the attack occurred. How dare they downplay someone's daughter's death? Anybody's kid's death. How dare they downplay it and not fight and do their job to the best of their ability? Do you want to know why? Because they're all wrapped up in that fucking university. They all are wrapped up in that fucking university.
deal? I mean, that's what it is. No, they
And
didn't.
you know what? I heard Steve G. Jr., he said he was going to get his degree and he was going to get it from UI, and he has stopped going to school because of this. And he's going to switch to another school. And I can't say I blamed him for that at all. It totally is the college. I mean, that's the common denominator. They all went there. Remember when Bill Thompson wanted to schedule the fucking trial around when school was in or out? Oh, well, we're going to have to do it in the summer on this day because of parking and, the classes won't be in session. It's always been their fucking priority. The fucking UI president doesn't have a gag order. He can write a book. A whole book about it. Makes me sick.
Oh, no, she was punched. Her face was crushed in. Her teeth are knocked out. They didn't give those details because they knew it would be enraging.
Yeah.
And then they would have a problem. So the truth was a problem. Truth was a problem for the prosecutor, and I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
We don't like it either, Steve. Put a 1 if you don't like it either.
You stated that you are still fighting
This is
about it.
Oh, this part is going to infuriate you.
Number one, God bless you and give you strength, because you're going to need it for the rest of your life. You are going to be scrutinized. You are going to be followed. You are going to be photographed. Everything you say is going to be parsed and analyzed and attacked. But you said you're still fighting. How?
We're still trying to get them to release documentation. They told us that as soon as we were out of court, they were going to give us all of the discovery. Just 2 days ago, they sent us an email and said, no, that we have to go through it as the Freedom of Information Act. And we were in a meeting.
Do you hear this shit? Do you hear this? So that tells me they still don't give a fuck. They don't feel bad. They don't feel bad that they fucked these people over. And now that it's over, they can give them all the stuff. Nope. They got to FOIA it like everybody else. Now listen to what he's going through trying to FOIA this shit. They said, oh, we'll give you everything. Bad enough they didn't even get the autopsy report until the day of sentencing, right? Oh, this infuriated me.
We were out of court. They were going to give us all of the discovery. Just 2 days ago, they sent us an email and said, no, that we have to go through it as the Freedom of Information Act. And we were in a meeting with...
You are kidding me. They're making you file a FOIA request for the documents?
Yeah, these people don't
2 days ago, because we kept saying, because they told us they would give it to us. They said they will give you all a discovery. And Shannon said, they're not going to have to go dig for it and get in line with everybody else. And they said, no, we'll get it.
See, their lawyer even reiterated, hey, we're not going to have to jump through hoops. This isn't going to be another deal where they get fucked in the ass, right? No, we're going to give it to you. And they don't. Wow. That would be like Shanann Watts' family having to FOIA the information on her case. Think about that. Let that sink in.
Because we kept saying, because they told us they would give it to us. They said they will give you all a discovery. And Shannon said, they're not going to have to go dig for it and get in line with everybody else. And they said, no, we'll give it to them. And we keep on asking. And then 2 days ago, we got an email and said, here's the links. You need to get on here and you need to file these forms and these requests. And there you go.
Which I did. And then it came back and said, we can't find any records on Kaylee. And I was like, all right, guys, tell me what department. The FBI has let's just say over 10, and it's probably closer to 20. And I didn't know what department. I went for criminology justice, I believe, is where I did the FOIA. And they said, this is the wrong department. So I went back to them and said, can you at least tell me what department I'm getting a Freedom of Information Act on? And they're like, we don't have anyone to even talk to know. So they don't even know.
You hear this? This is ridiculous. Where's the evidence? So he requested it. Oh, it's the wrong department. We don't have any records. Where is the victim advocacy? Private Eyes, that is a great question. What is going on in Idaho that they don't have victim advocates? Because it seems to me that the victims in the Daybell case were treated a little bit better. Like Kay Woodcock and her husband, Larry. This is horrible.
And I'm like, you guys are clowns. You guys are clowns.
Yes, preach.
And they're like, we don't have anyone to even talk to know. So they don't even know. And I'm like, you guys are clowns. You guys are clowns. You should be embarrassed to be this bad at your job. And I'll hold you accountable. And I think every family, when you lose your child, you have to expect the most. When you're talking about life and death, you have to take charge of the situation. There's going to be a time for you to struggle and be a victim, but if you can rally up and then go into that system and demand justice, and demand that your child is treated as fair as possible, and you'll feel better when it's all said and done. It's never going to bring them back. And I literally had a judge scream at me, we're not going to bring her back. And I was like, that's not what this is about. This is about you guys doing everything by the book.
Wait, the judge told you you're not.
Which judge told them that? Was it
Going to bring her back?
Hitler?
Yeah, yelling at me, telling me he didn't want me to talk to the media anymore. And I said,
Oh my God. Oh boy. D, love of God. How did the Chapins compliment Thompson so much? It's that UI connection, in my opinion. One shot. Thank you so much for your generous super chat. Idaho law enforcement is in bed with the moneymaker for the state, which is obviously the college. Remember how soon the house was torn down? They wanted no trace of danger on campus. I agree with that. I'm wondering which judge did this that wanted him to stop talking to the media. I wonder if that was Judge Marshall, or Judge Hitler. How can you? Oh.
Yeah, yelling at me, telling me he didn't want me to talk to the media anymore. And I said, well, that's not going to happen. I'm going to talk to the media every single time I want. He basically said, well, then we'll never have a trial.
Yeah, he in a closed hearing.
I can't believe a judge told you
We'll never have a trial. Oh, he said Hitler.
how you're supposed to behave, and you can't bring her back. That is not appropriate for a judge to tell a grieving parent, you can't bring her back. Let's just let it go. It's not going to bring her back. It's not about bringing her back. It is about justice.
Yeah, he actually said, he was talking, we all were in the courtroom or on Zoom, all the families, and he actually said, and the Goncalves family, especially the dad, needs to shut his mouth.
And I said, that ain't gonna happen.
And he said, I don't agree with that. And he said, I don't care if you don't agree with that. And Steve said, well, I mean, you know, me, I'm fighting for justice for my daughter. And he says, do you think that that you're going to bring her back? Doing this all is talking to the media is going to bring her back?
Holy shit. Hold on. I want to hear that part again.
Actually said, and the Goncalves family, especially the dad, needs to shut his mouth.
And I said, that ain't gonna happen.
And he said, I don't agree with that. And he said, I don't care if you don't agree with that. And Steve said, well, I mean, you know, me, I'm fighting for justice for my daughter. And he says, do you think that that you're going to bring her back? Doing this all is talking to the media is going to bring her back? And Steve goes, no, I mean, I know that that's not going to bring her back, but you know, I still have.
We got to hold people accountable.
We have a voice, you know.
We have to hold people accountable.
And,
how in the hell does he get off saying it's not going to bring her back to you, who have lost your precious pearl, and he is telling you to speak or not speak? I mean,
I still had a son at that college. There was another victim's sister that went to WSU. We had lives still on the line, making sure that that place was protected. And when we're sitting there saying, hey, we need to know the facts, we need to know were they stalked, what's going on? We have kids still going to school here. And they're just like, no, you don't have the right to know anything. And it was,
yeah. No,
do you think the other parents were duped? You think the other parents were duped? That they didn't understand the facts when they agreed to that plea?
So the plea, they set up a meeting with us via Zoom, our whole family, on a Friday afternoon. It was like an hour and a half long, and we talked about logistics of trial, because it was coming up. Security, where we're going to park, how we were going to have to phone in every day.
Remember how they were treated when they went for the sentencing too? Remember they were walking in and they had no one to like escort them in. They were just left to the wolves. They had reporters hovering over them, just breathing down their necks. You know, it was horrible. Hell on heels. Thanks for being here.
Can't tell them.
And good to see you, jammers.
Coming and yada, 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 yada.
Our car had already been vandalized in their parking lot.
From a previous Ada County.
So we're like, how do we make sure this doesn't happen anymore, guys?
And ironically, that day that we went to court, there was a bunch of Kohbergers on the other side sitting behind Bryan doing this and on the camera.
Oh my God. Wow. Hold on. Their car was okay. Hold on.
We're going to have to phone in every day and tell them who's coming and yada, 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 yada.
Our car had already been vandalized in their parking lot. From a
The
previous hearing.
Ada County.
So we're like, how do we make sure this doesn't happen anymore, guys?
And ironically, that day that we went to court, there was a bunch of Kohbergers on the other side sitting behind Bryan doing this and on the camera, and the car was vandalized. We're like, so.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Your tinfoil hat is heating up. I can't believe it. And she got a death threat during sentencing. That's right, Redondo. She got a text that was a death threat during the sentencing. I don't like it at all.
And the car was vandalized. We're like, so.
Speaking
it was all about
of the Kohbergers, you know what I have in my hand? All of Kohberger's complaints. I know it's kind of irrelevant. All that matters is Kaylee is gone and her friends are gone and he murdered them and we're paying for his 3 hots and a cot. Okay, that's what matters. And is there any way under God's sun that it can be fixed? But I find it ironic that he is filing complaints that he is being threatened sex harassment through the air vent. Like he was the one looking up online, attacking and raping women in their sleep, when they were drugged, when they were passed out, when they were comatose. That's his fantasy. That's why he broke in that night, when he assumed the girls would be asleep. He's whining that, Mommy, they're threatening me through the air vent. And he's actually, I love this one.
There you go, Robet.
That he's complaining about the food on his tray and the nutritional value of his food.
he didn't get his banana.
And he refers to bringing the food like a butler. The service just hasn't been that good.
It's going to get a lot
Thoughts?
worse. He's the property of Idaho now, and it's going to get worse. I guarantee you that.
I like you said, I think it's very ironic. I'm like, for him to get there and so quickly start complaining and even throwing out other inmates' names and CO names, it's like, you were in prison. I mean, like, this is not his forte. I mean, his forte is to kill, but not to be killed. His forte is to, possibly, I mean, he didn't rape any of our kids, but possibly, but not get. I mean, what's good for the goose is not good for the game.
Oh, get 'em, Kristi. Reality with Krista Marie. Good to see you. Thanks for subbing up. Ooh, listen to that again.
Worse. I guarantee you that.
I like you said, I think it's very ironic. I'm like, for him to get there and so quickly start complaining and even throwing out other inmates' names and CO names, it's like, you were in prison. I mean, like, this is not his forte. I mean, his forte is to kill, but not to be killed. His forte is to, possibly, I mean, he didn't rape any of our kids, but possibly, but not get. I mean, what's good for the goose.
Wait a second. She says he didn't rape any of our kids, but what does Steve do?
Is to kill, but not to be killed. His forte is to, possibly, I mean, he didn't rape any of our kids, but possibly, but not get. I mean,
How come he's making it seem like that was something he thought maybe it was part of it?
Possibly, I mean, he didn't rape any of our kids, but possibly, but not get. I mean, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander here, And I think it's just so ironic that he is complaining with written complaints and saying, this inmate so is doing this to me and saying this to me and this, and he expects them to come and save him.
Yeah. Well, they've been babying him, and we baby our prisoners. And when you become the property of a state, you should lose your constitutional rights. You shouldn't have all these rights as if you were a tax-paying citizen doing your best job, going to work every single day. We gotta fix some of these things, and we have been talking to legislators. You're asking of us things that we've done. we're not going to take this lightly. We're going to do everything from a victim's perspective. We become advocates and witnesses for our kids, and we're trying to change it. And I think you guys can see that. That went all the way down to, my daughter in the courtroom going after him and letting him know that we're not just going to be victims that you can keep down and keep trying to hurt.
I do also think that they really upped the ante taking him to prison, which what we were hopeful for, because I think that Latah County Jail was a cakewalk.
It's a joke.
And then
It's
Ada
a
made
joke.
that a little
Oh, it was
tighter.
total Mayberry.
It's a joke. Say that again,
Upped the
Steve.
ante taking him to prison, which what we were hopeful for, because I think that Latah County Jail was a cakewalk.
It's a joke.
And then Ada maybe got a little
Oh, it was
tighter.
total Mayberry. It was
But,
total
yeah.
Mayberry. I couldn't believe it. This guy's going to have a tablet. He can watch movies. He can communicate with the outside world. I guarantee you, just give it a minute until people think this has died down. He is going to Zoom at some symposium. He's going to have this weird cult following, like you mentioned, the Kohbergers. He can write a book. There's no Son of Sam laws in Idaho, I don't believe.
See, but he can do all this. Nope, no appeals, but he can do all this. And that might bring in who? Miss Catherine Ramsland, right? If he's willing to work with her. He's not done yet. And he's going to be able to stay in the media without complaints. Trust me. This guy has a whole plan up his sleeve. I believe that. Look at Nancy. She's like, oh my God, Jay, don't say that.
He's going to have this weird cult following, like you mentioned, the Kohbergers. He can write a book. There's no Son of Sam laws in Idaho, I don't believe. He can even get married. I mean,
He's trying to
it's so
transfer.
wrong. I feel
Trying
like
to transfer back to
running out in the
Pennsylvania.
street and screaming.
I think I just read somewhere the other day, which I know I did, that does one of the Menendez brothers have a child?
Yes, he has a daughter.
He had
Oh,
children.
and even Jorn Vandersloot. You know Jorn Vandersloot that murdered two young girls? He murdered Natalie Holloway and Stephanie Tassiana Flores under similar circumstances. His judge daddy protected him. He's had not one but two babies behind bars. He drinks, he does drugs, he smokes, he gambles. It's like insane. But again, screw them and the horse they rode in on. I want to talk about what, if anything, can be done now. Starting with, do you believe the other families were duped? If they had known the truth, would they have gone along with the plea?
I can't say 100%. But the thing is, I don't want to speak on behalf of them by any means, but I don't think that the other families necessarily wanted the truth. They didn't want to be lied to, but they didn't want
The details.
Yeah.
And we did.
But
We
they-
weren't just like, okay, she was stabbed to death around 20. We're like, how many? Where? And because I do talk to Maddie's mom, and Maddie's mom is like, please, please, please. Like, I don't, so I don't say anything to her when I speak to her about, what happened. She's like, I don't read that stuff. I don't watch it. Our thing is, we have kids, we have two that are older. We have two that are younger, and you can't tell them to stay off social media for the rest of their lives. And I don't want one of them opened up TikTok and seeing crime scene photos of their sister or body cam. So we're like, we're trying to stay one ahead. And
Okay, so this is where they mention the body cam and stuff. And this is their reasoning for not wanting all of this stuff out there. And then let's listen to it, and then we're going to discuss.
anything to her when I speak to her about, what happened. She's like, I don't read that stuff. I don't watch it. Our thing is, we have kids, we have two that are older. We have two that are younger, and you can't tell them to stay off social media for the rest of their lives. And I don't want one of them opened up TikTok and seeing crime scene photos of their sister or body cam. So we're like, we're trying to stay one ahead. And as a mother, even if I didn't have children, I would still, as much as it has traumatized me, I would still want to know what happened.
How do you guys feel about that? I see their point, and it's just a tough thing, right? Because I understand their point. They want their kids to be able to live normally and not have to see those things. What do you guys think? Oh, I would be furious. It's tough, right? Because they want to know all the details. The public wants to know all the details. So the question is, if all of this stuff is released and it's all over social media, should it be held back so that they are spared? Or should we be able to see it all? That's the question. And definitely I would want to know as well, but not everybody feels the same in that way. But I'm just thinking about, the kids, and I don't know.
I want to know what happened from top to bottom.
Kristi, isn't it true you basically got an email saying, hey, we got a deal?
Yes, on a Sunday afternoon. They sent it at 4:53 p.m. We happened to get,
Okay.
Steve happened to be
All right, before we move into this part about them finding out about the plea deal, you know what? Pretty hate machine, it's inevitable, right? We never know when something could be leaked. So maybe get in front of it and do some preemptive therapy. I don't know what else you could do. They are warriors. Hey, Mike. They should definitely get it before the public. They should definitely get time to process it. Georgia Dog says, I wouldn't want my kids' pics like that out for the world to see. But they don't even want anything put out, even if it's blurred or redacted. That's where, this line is being drawn, okay? Steve Goncalves has always been a proponent, even in this interview, about transparency. But now they don't want us to have things that are even redacted or blurred out. It is a huge catch-22. And then their part of their argument too is that why does the public need to see that to understand the gravity of the murders? So it's just a really hard thing, right? I think that the reason we all want to see it so badly is because this damn gag order. Knowing everything and seeing everything are not the same, right? The families shouldn't have a say on it because the public has a right to know. Part of accountability. See, it's a double-edged sword. Monkey lady, because he's pissed. We are nosy. He's pissed, monkey lady. Did you listen to the whole interview? Right. I think had they been treated with respect and dignity from the onset of this, that they wouldn't have this anger. They were lied to about their daughter's murder. I can't think of anything worse than that, other than your daughter being murdered.
Saying, hey, we got a deal?
Yes, on a Sunday afternoon. They sent it at 4:53 p.m. Steve happened to be checking his email a little later, around 6 or so, and he said, what? And we lost our minds. We immediately emailed them and said, we need to talk now, what, has this been sent yet? Have you offered it yet? What is going on? They sent us an email the next morning and said, we can meet at 3 today. And we said, you didn't answer. Has this been sent already? And they said, yes, it was sent yesterday evening to the defense. And so we met with them at 3 that day on Monday, and the plea had already been accepted. And we lost our minds. We were in that meeting. We were screaming, we were cussing, we were yelling, we were saying, why did you do this? How did you do this? What happened? You just talked to us on Friday and told us that, you had every anticipation of taking this all the way. We talked about court. We talked about a plea deal for like a second, and he just said, oh, I think that they might be wanting one, but we have no reason to give them one.
So they downplayed it to him too.
why would we? And we're like, yeah, right. Why would we? And he said, well, how do you guys feel about a plea deal? And we're like, no, absolutely not. No. Boom, moved on.
Yeah, he accepted the plea deal within the same hour that he got it. This man never wanted to fight.
Wow.
For our children. Literally, I mean it. They fought for their lives, for their very last breath, and this man had no fighting. They fought hard all the way to the end, and he gave up within an hour of being given an opportunity to quit on these kids. And that's the kind of prosecutor that you got to get. You got to get him out. You got to get real prosecutors in Idaho. We got some jobs to do. We got some work to do there.
Yeah, you have to have a prosecutor that, if you're in a death penalty state, believes in capital punishment.
Yeah, it's not your will. It's the victim's will. If they don't want it, then fine. But we had 4 people.
And Bill Thompson has never talked to us since that Zoom meeting that we had.
Wow. He's never spoken to them again prior to sentencing. Has he retired yet? And what's going on with Rosenthal? What?
It's the victim's will. If they don't want it, then fine. But we had 4 people.
And Bill Thompson has never talked to us since that Zoom meeting that we had. And we were just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you did that.
Wait a minute, he's never talked to you since? He's been all over the media, but he hasn't talked to you?
Nope. When we did get a briefing, it was from the investigator, the 2 investigators.
And Ashley Jennings, so the deputy. But Bill Thompson, because I mean, we were going after him. I mean, our whole family was in different windows, and we were all just coming at him. We were just like, Bill, like, how could you do this to us?
So this guy did not have the balls to talk to you after the deal because he knew he had done the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I said, did you at least get some details? Did you at least find out about the kill kit, the knife, anything? He goes, Steve, we'll never get those details. You're never.
Whoa. He said, did you get the details about the kill kit? He has been 100% certain there was a freaking kill kit. And Bill Thompson says, Steve, we're never going to get those details.
About the kill kit, the knife, anything. He goes, Steve, we'll never get those details. You're never going to get those details. It's not important. He's just going to lie to us. And I said, you are absolute idiot. You have no idea who this person is. He is going to write a book, and I'm going to learn about the sickest details through his prophet book, through its sister, or through some professor, whatever.
Yep, through his sister's writing a book. Let's not forget that. And through some professor. See that? Steve knows what time it is. He knows exactly what the plan is.
You have no idea who this person is. He is going to write a book, and I'm going to learn about the sickest details through his prophet book, through its sister, or through some professor, whatever way he does it. I'm going to hear about him, and you're an idiot for not even knowing who you're dealing with.
You know, I think maybe I can get a straight answer from you guys. What do you believe Kohberger's motive was? Not that the state needs to prove it. I don't know why they kept talking about we can't prove motive. It doesn't matter. You don't have to prove motive in a murder case. But what do you believe was his motive?
I think that he had been watching either Kaylee or Maddie, and I don't think the others were involved. And that's why he went straight up to that room. That house is so confusing. They're just a build on from hell. They just built on and built on and built on and throughout the years. So it is a very confusing floor plan. And we know that he went in there very quickly. He wasn't, he went in and he went out.
Yep.
And he may have tried to walk into Kaylee's room first. We don't know. And Kaylee's bed was empty. So he's like, I'm going into Xana's.
See, that's what I wonder. Did he go upstairs? Did he try to go into Kaylee's room first? And she wasn't in there.
Kaylee's room first. We don't know. And Kaylee's bed was empty. So he's like, I'm going into Xana's or Maddie's. And maybe he went into Maddie's and then got mad because Kaylee woke up and was like, oh, there's 2 in here. But I think it was some sort of an obsession. Some sick, twisted, stalking. Maybe he hated one of them. Maybe it was both. I think it was hate.
There was no blood on Kaylee's door, so that would lead us to believe he went there first, opened the door, seen the dog or seen something, and then said, okay, there's nobody here. Then I'm thinking he went to Addie's room. And you don't see blood on that door, but the other door downstairs, they do see blood on it. So I think we're just going through this, reverse engineering it. We've talked to detectives and things like that now, and we believe that explains who he was going for. And he definitely stalked them. He stalked multiple girls on that hillside. He's a copycat killer, and he just was really poor at it. And I mean, you can look at his handwriting. He might be a PhD student in Pennsylvania, but he would have had a way harder time out here. I mean, he looked like a little kid, like a little fifth grader writing that paper. So I can't believe that's
Guys, why do you think everybody is attacking Dylan and Bethany, acting like they did
here we
something
go.
wrong or even part of the murders? It's insane.
I hate it. We absolutely hate it. And it just, I fear, and these girls are so young, and for them to have to deal with this for forever. And I mean, I'm not going to say that the events that occurred that night were strange. Do we think they were involved in any way? No. Could they have saved the kids if they were to call 911 right then and there? No. But
Okay, so they agree. I still think the happenings that morning were strange. Or, the night, the morning, whatever you want to call it. I still don't understand a lot of what went on with Dylan and Bethany that morning. And that's why I really was hoping for a trial so we could hear these accounts of what happened, right?
strange. Do we think they were involved in any way? No. Could they have saved the kids if they were to call 911 right then and there? No. But I mean, but you know, when you go into fear, you go into that flight or fight mode, and maybe that was they flew, you know, and they cuddled up together. It is very clear.
You know
that
what's
they
interesting about what you said? When you were talking about you saw LA law enforcement come up in your driveway, you ran to the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
That, I mean, it's hard to explain in the heat of the moment, the fog of war, why anybody does anything that they do.
Well, what if Murphy was in Kaylee's room, Mike, to bounce off your comment there? What if Murphy was in Kaylee's room and Murphy got out but followed Bryan because Bryan was the one in the woods behind the house giving Murphy treats and getting him used to him?
Yeah.
Why did I throw all my books down? I don't know why I did that. Why did you run to the bedroom? I don't know. Why does anybody do anything? And attacking those girls is just like more victimization. Another thing, I know you've got to go. I find it really interesting that Washington State had this long history of his anti-woman, misogynist, stalking behavior and did nothing. That's really interesting. If he had been thrown out, he wouldn't have even been there.
Right?
Exactly.
Right?
He should have been thrown out before he ever killed these kids.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think of that? There were tons of warnings there at WSU. There were tons of women who felt uncomfortable. He could have very well have been, like his professor said, you know, a rapist, or who knows? For his professor to say straight up, we give this guy a PhD and we're in danger. And for Catherine Ramsland to teach him and say, I didn't notice anything. He was very interested. It's very weird to me. We don't know if there was a sexual motive, right? He had porn on his phone of drunk, passed out girls. So.
If they should have set a standard and said, look, we don't put up with this in our university. You cross the line, you're done. It's not even our decision. It's just your behavior. We're holding you accountable. You should behave like this. That's the expectations in Washington State University. And you either do it or you don't.
I mean, he had 13 in the first semester. The first one came in August. That's the first month that you come to school, and then 12 after. And November had a huge, Thanksgiving break, and then he didn't even go the whole month of December. He took off like December 9th or 10th, and there's 13 formal complaints. What were they doing?
What was he doing? Following them, stalking them?
Just being would kind of act aggressive and stand in doorways from what we've read, and the girls would have to like walk past him and like
creep.
Yeah.
Guy should have been punched in the face. He was a creep, man. He's a disgusting creep. The kind of guy. We even heard about it from the Seven Sirens bar, where those girls put a little note saying,
in PA, he was a menace in PA. Okay, in PA, he was on a list at a bar by DeSales University because he was a fucking creep. He creeped out the girls. He asked them what their addresses were and shit. And the sooner that everybody accepts that he's a fucking creep and he did this, the better off you'll be. I promise.
creep.
Yeah.
Guy should have been punched in the face. He was a creep, man. He's a disgusting creep. The kind of guy, we even heard about it from the Seven Sirens bar, where those girls put a little note saying, hey, if you get this credit card, watch out for this guy. I mean, he's been doing this his whole life, and we didn't stand up to him. And we need to start standing up to these type of bullies. And hopefully Idaho will get it right. Hopefully those prisoners in there, they'll do the real justice. They'll act like real men in there, and they'll handle it the way that it should be handled in the first place.
Yeah.
Is there any way in your mind that this plea can be reversed, or any way that the feds may seek the federal death penalty?
We've heard that and we've seen that, and a lot of people have reached out to us and said that, this can happen, but we don't understand why it wasn't federal in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, he crossed state lines to kill. He drove from Washington to Idaho. We never understood why it wasn't a federal case in the first place.
Sorry, Krista Marie.
Exactly.
You're getting a little too pro-burger for me.
It's done.
I've got another question, because a lot of crime victims
Listen, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to tell you, you're going to time out for 5 minutes. You're welcome here, but we're not going to sit here and question them. They're not the ones that murdered these 4 people, okay? We're not questioning these 2. We're hearing what they've discovered and what we've been lied to about, and we need to have a little more respect than that. Because if you think BryanKohberger couldn't do this in 7 minutes, you might want to go back to Bundy and study his crimes. Because Bundy did it in less time with a piece of wood.
But
Exactly.
I think they're just like, it's done.
I've got another question, because a lot of crime victims are watching you right now. Do you ever feel Kaylee's presence with you?
I do. I do. Not as much as I would like, but once in a great while I do. And it's funny because, like you're outside and a little ladybug will, a ladybug will land on you and you're like, oh, it's bug. And then you're like, oh, ladybug,
This
so
is cute.
ladybugs really get me, because it's not that common that a ladybug will land on you. But Kaylee was bug. She was our bug. That's what we call her, K-bug. And we all just recently got ladybug tattoos, but ladybugs are very special, and I feel like, And then here's another thing: is Kaylee was she loved Stitch when she was when she was born. Stitch just came out, the cartoon Stitch, the Disney, and so we bought her everything Stitch, and it's very ironic that since Kaylee passed away, Stitch has been kind of brought back. They've done a new movie with Stitch, so there's Stitch stuff everywhere. So we'll be in the store, this and that, and we'll be like, and you'll see the most ironic little Stitch figure or Stitch stuffed animal in this whole mess of other stuffed animals or something, in this little Stitch face. And we'll be like, oh my gosh, it's Kaylee, just in the strangest places, you'll find a Stitch, small or big one or something. And it's just like, Kaylee. So Stitch and ladybugs.
It's cute to see him smile at that, honestly. That was cute. Because you don't see those moments from them very much where they smile. You really don't. It's nice to hear them like share a memory that actually makes them smile. These people have been through fucking hell. Total hell.
Kaylee. So Stitch and Ladybugs.
Guys, how do you speak with a straight face? How do you keep being so strong? I'm looking at Steve Goncalves, and his face is like granite. How do you stay so strong?
Because it's so important. And I love our country. I love the state of Idaho. I want things to get better. I don't want these kind of sickos to prosper. And for us to win, we need real leaders. We need real men, and real strong women who can stand up to these people. I'm making them. I'm raising them. I got some of the strongest.
Yes. I agree with this. Thompson is not a strong prosecutor at all. It's me, Mike. Weird. Some people think it takes 30 minutes or what? 3 minutes is an eternity going berserk like that. Mm-hmm. Chuck R. I agree with that. I think he's raising strong girls as well.
For us to win, we need real leaders. We need real men and real strong women who can stand up to these people. I'm making them. I'm raising them. I got some of the strongest girls in the freaking world. And he killed one of them. Hold them accountable. I feel like we got a job to do. And I think if parents get a little more proactive and be a little bit more vocal towards that prosecution, they can force the media to help hold them accountable. And I really believe that the government works for us. I believe that government is servitude. You go in to serve. You don't go in there for your own opinion. You might not believe in the death penalty. We don't care. It's the victims and their families. That's what you should be negotiating for.
Yep.
You're their vote. You're proxying their will through into the courtroom. And I think the court's lost that. And we're going to try to bring that back. I mean, there's a reason why we took our daughter to Texas. She had a full scholarship. We said, you're going to Texas because they honor their victims. They do everything in their power. Florida's another one.
Not that we're going to have another victim.
Oh,
No.
Not happening.
oh, see, I didn't like this. Ooh, I was like, oh God, this has got to be so hard for them to send their daughter to another state, to a university. Can you imagine?
Everything in their power. Florida's another one.
Not that we're going to have another victim.
No.
Not happening. But he's.
I don't know
he's
if
very
you
much
know this,
You don't show
and these
weakness,
are
like,
not
you know,
just empty words, but I want you to know from the beginning, the very beginning, you are the focus of so many prayers for you, for your children, for Kaylee, not just for what you have endured, but what you will endure. And I want to thank you so much for being with us.
And that's it. I thought that was a wonderful interview, and I'm so glad they're speaking out because people need to hear this and changes need to be made. I agree with them. I'm trying to find that interview. Oh, it's this one. Okay. I want to go back in time, if you will, with me. Now that we've watched this, I want to go back to 2 years ago. This would have been, let me give you the date on this, December 4th of 2022. This is before an arrest. This is Fox News.
Good evening, America, and welcome to this special edition of Cross Country in Moscow, Idaho. Why? The students or persons. These four young Kristi and Steve Goncalves.
Look how much they've changed since then. Almost 3 years ago. And this is when they're sitting outside in front of the Moscow Police Department.
So much for being with me. You guys have been so transparent and strong for the public. Kristi, you called the person that did this the boogeyman.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
It's literally like what nightmares are made of. Like when you're a little kid and you think of the boogeyman, that's just how I feel. Like that's just the horrific details of everything. Them just having a good time, going home and going to bed, and that's happening to them.
Your best friend crawling into bed.
Just crawling in bed,
Every
and
girl
the
in
boogeyman
America
comes.
knows what that's
The
like.
boogeyman doesn't, you know, meet you at McDonald's. I mean, the boogeyman comes and snatches you out of your bedroom.
Steve, we've been talking. I've been talking to folks in the community. You said something that stuck with me. You said, until this person is caught, you can't sleep in your bed.
No. I can't just lay in my bed and do nothing. That's not the way I raised my family. That's not the way I raised my girls and my son. You don't be a victim. You stand up for yourself and you do everything in your power to make sure people hear you. And they're gonna hear Kaylee. They're gonna hear Maddie. They're gonna hear these.
The other two as well.
Yes.
All of them.
I'm careful saying anything about them because I need to be careful because I can't speak on somebody else's child. But these two girls, I'm not trying to be a glory hound, but these two girls, I'm going to do what I can do, and we're not being victims. We're going to fight. We're going to figure out how to make sure that we hold everybody, accountable, and we keep eyes and attention on this and get this thing resolved.
Steve, you have made it very clear to our audience that you are supportive of law enforcement. You support the investigation. But recently, I've been watching and talking with you, and you're getting frustrated. What does that frustration come from, sir?
They put certain people between you and the officers that are making things happen, and those people are like lawyers, and they don't want to say anything, and they don't have the guts to come up and be alpha and be like leaders and say, hey, we might say something that's wrong. We're going to take that hit. So the officers, they look me straight in their eyes. The lead detective looked me in his eyes. I have no doubt he's working as hard as he can, but somebody isn't communicating. There's nothing being released. It seems like they're trying to suppress the story. We want to put rewards out there, like, don't do that. Yeah, I get it. Your town doesn't want to have reward posters posted all over when you come and you do your rush. You're not going to get a lot of students if they see those things. But this community is not going to heal until this guy's pulled off the streets. It ain't going to happen. Think it through. It's not going to happen. He has to be off the streets. We all are working for the same thing.
Okay, so they wanted to put up a reward. I guess I forgot about that. And they told them, no, you can't do that.
When was the last time y'all heard from the police?
Thursday,
We looked at our phone records. We want to be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
about 3 o'clock on Thursday.
And did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They
Via
needed me to
text.
sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something
Some mail.
that was mail related. So we're working with them. We're not selling them out. We love our law support.
The FBI, everybody that's here. We just have no information as family, and it gets tough day after day after day. I mean, every day you just wake up and think today's the day. We're going to hear something,
Hey, Ryan.
and you see these, there's a break in the case, and it'll just be something stupid.
The sixth
you know?
person on the lease that was never there. Stop playing games. This is serious. These are people's lives, and this is the future of this community. There's going to be 10,000, 15,000 kids that come into this community next year, or they don't. So be serious.
I had the opportunity to speak to some of my sources, and I've been told that there were differences in the way that the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard the target attack walk back and then reverse it back to
Okay, some were worse than the others, which we know now.
being a target attack. What can you tell us about the targeted attack?
They have told us that it was targeted, but they told us they can't tell who. We asked specifically, and they said, we'll try to get that information to you. And they got back to us a day or so later, and they said, we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted, or they think the whole house was targeted. But
See,
I'll cut to the chase.
they should not have gotten this mixed information.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them
He doesn't have to
may
go
have
up
been
the
target.
steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up those steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just gonna say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill. Sent my daughter to college to get an education. She came back in a box, and I can speak on that.
I was also told from sources that are closer to an investigation, because there was a lot of roommates in there. And this was horrific for those roommates that were there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
The preservation of this crime scene. Witnesses tell me that it may have well been preserved because the phone was passed around between one of the fraternity members and the girls. One of them unfortunately witnessed the death, the body there. Can you confirm that?
We cannot actually. We know nothing about that whole phone call. We've asked, and it's, I mean, I know that a lot of people want to know, but that's just not our agenda. We just are like, somebody called 911, somebody was reported unconscious. We don't really know. I mean, we've heard so many different things, and nothing has been clarified or been told to us at all. And I mean, I don't know if I personally have asked anything about that. I don't know if you have asked that, but we know that this is getting 3 weeks in, and it's starting to get, we don't want it to go cold. We're reaching out. I've reached out to friends down in California today that have connections that we're hoping to raise some money to get a reward, to get a private investigator.
Third party.
Why go the private route? Do y'all worry that at the end of this week that this case may be
100%.
cold?
We're scared.
When you tell me you don't want a photo up there with the reward offering information, that kind of sounds like you're trying to like suppress the story. I mean, why do you not need help? But hey, I could be wrong, and you officers, I apologize if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I want to.
absolutely.
Please forgive me. Please forgive me. But if you don't have the information, people do know. If they don't, then
Give us
the
something.
community. This is a community that is IT based. These guys live a digital footprint like we've never. All of us older people, we don't know how much that digital footprint could be helpful. So that's what we ask for. I hope like a DNA. Family lineage, if they could come out here and just start taking, this town is not that big. We could figure out this, and it might not be him. It might be a family member. We have family all going to the school together. You know, there's cousins, there's aunts, there's uncles. We could find this guy with volunteers.
Lineage companies were,
Put Idaho on the map.
Kristi, Steve, we're going to stay on this case.
Thank you.
We're not going anywhere.
Thank you.
You guys have been candid with us. We'll keep asking questions. Any resource that we have available, our audience is praying for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. It was big for you guys to come back to Moscow tonight. I know it took a lot of courage to do it, and I'm hoping we can get some answers for you. Thanks so much for joining me.
This is their desperation. It was horrible. Suppressing them with that gag order, right? Couldn't even clarify what happened to their daughter. It's horrible, guys. But very important that we hear them out. I know BK was probably watching all of this. And I agree, Maury. I think that WSU needs to be held accountable for, whatever their policies are supposed to be. They really screwed up. Because had he been shit-canned before he was able to do this, I don't know. Things could have ended different, right? Hey, Salty. Hey, Running Bear, be careful on your travels. Yep, and it all boils down to the university and the money. Thank you, Kat, in the chat. And I agree, Steve is a great dad. I agree with that, too. What's worst is that they will never find out their questions unanswered by Bill for no reason but to protect Scott Green and his university and business. Yeah, it's really sad. Money, it's the root of all evil. It's always the end result of everything that's wrong, Corruption. It always boils down to money. But I want to, my heart goes out to Steve and Kristi. I do support them. We don't have to agree with everything they think or say, but we do need to respect them as victims because we're not in their shoes. And that's my message. So I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I am still recovering from being sick, but it was really good to see you guys. And I'm excited to get back into streaming more regularly as I continue to feel better. Excuse me. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And let me know if you're replaying this. Let me know your comments in the comment section. I'm really curious. I hope that you guys have a great night. And yeah, let's run our credits. I'll see you guys soon. So much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream or video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my latest content. Want to take it a step further? Bring it all in. And join our community clickers by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You'll get exclusive access to our Discord server, special channel perks, and much more. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Click. It's real easy, man.